Hello crafters, I want to show you another project using this pack of 10 envelopes and cards that I bought from the stationery store. So far out of this pack I've managed to make 4 projects. So I want to share another one with you today. For this one we're going to use 6 of the envelopes and 2 of the cards, and we're probably going to, so we're using 6 of the envelopes, 2 of the cards, a sheet of black 12x12 basil cardstock, and a sheet of white 12x12 basil cardstock. So this is what you're going to need for this project. What I've gone ahead and done is I've cut the tops off all of the envelopes. I've cut those off, but I've saved them because then I've cut some tabs out using my label maker, and I've attached some little labels onto the photo mats that we're going to pop inside the envelope. So these photo mats, I've made 6 again, these are all going to fit inside the envelopes here. So they fit in nicely, and you've got the nice little black monochromed tabs on there as well. Okay, so that's how they're going to all come together. So I've already cut those out. I won't give you measurements because obviously depending on the cards and envelopes you're using, your mats are going to be different. What I would say is if you're going to cut your mats, make sure they fit inside your envelopes. You can slide them in and out easily enough. That's one thing to bear in mind. I've cut some little photo corners on mine so I can just slide some photos behind there. And when you put your tab on, make sure it's not poking too far above the envelope, okay, because we're going to put a little bit of a cover on this album, but not too much. Okay, so I've gone ahead and cut 6 of these out, and I've attached my tabs. So that's using the waste from the tops of the envelopes here. Okay, so I've done that already, so I'll put those to one side. So we'll put the envelopes to one side because they're all ready now to go. First thing we're going to do is we're going to start scoring some of the white cardstock. Now I've cut my white basil here to be the width of my envelopes, so that, which is 5.5 in the width here. Now I'm going to use the cards as my actual front and back cover of my envelope, of my album, but obviously the cards are smaller than the envelope, so it wouldn't look very nice if I just had that and the envelopes all showing. So that's why I'm using the basil, not only to make the hinge system but also to attach the patterning onto to make a nice front and back cover to the album. So I'll put those cards to one side as well, and we'll put that to one side. What I will do is just measure that. That's I think 4.5. So I'm going to start scoring. So I'm going to make my first score line at 4.5, and then that will allow for my front cover, so to say. So that will then go on there to be my front cover. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to score at 1/2 inch increments all the way to, I think we're going to about 10.5, I think would be enough. So I'm just scoring this along here for now, using the flat part of my scorer so it doesn't tear my cardstock. And you know me, if you follow me, you know that I tend to double score and to flip it over and do the other side, because this then also helps with the cracking in your paper. I'm going to flip it over and just do the other side. I see your score lines, but by doing this you're just breaking the memory down of the paper. The paper has a memory of being flat because that's how it's been made, but by scoring on both sides we're breaking the fibres of the paper down, and that way then we shouldn't get any cracking when we fold and burnish our folds. So that's those all done. So now we're going to do some Valier mounting folds. So I'm going to start this way because that's going to be the front cover, and then I'm going to burnish with the flat parts of my bone folder. Now we need to do Valier mounting folds. Okay, now obviously being cardstock, just take your time doing this so you get nice burnished lines and keeping everything nice and straight. That's that's the other thing to bear in mind. Just takes a little bit of time. As I say, I've been really pleased with out of one pack of cheap cards and envelopes that I bought in the sale at the card store, that I've managed to make 4 lovely little projects. And they're nice little projects that at the end of the day have cost pence to make. I've added a couple of sheets of cardstock here and there, but not a lot at all. So if any of you do crafting for fundraising, for school fetes or church fetes, some of these little projects like this are really good for something like that. So when you're shopping and you do see a cheap pack of cards and you think, well, I don't really need any more note cards at the moment or any more thank yous, try and think outside the box and think that you could make albums with those or wallets with those, and it's quite a good way to use for fundraising or to make cheap gifts for people. So I've concertinaed that all the way along. So now we're going to go ahead and start sticking our envelopes to these. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick the envelopes to each of the concertinas. So I'm going to put one there, just make sure I've got enough. So that's 2, 3, that one there, yeah, 4, 5, and that's 6. So that should be enough on there. So they can then go ahead. I think I'm going to have some facing each other as well. So let's just see if that works out. Slot that one in there. Slot that one in there. I'm going to stick them all on the same side. That one then is going to be stuck onto there. And then the album. So I'm going to put one more actual crease line, I think, on there for myself. So I'm just going to put one more fold line. So that's going to take it then up to the 11 mark. So just do another score line. I hadn't actually made this album ahead of time. I'd had the idea in my head and I'm making it with you here today. So this is a total new one for me too. Okay, right, that's that. So that should then give us enough score lines. Just fold that one back and burnish that. Right, so now we can go ahead and start sticking our albums down. I'm going to just use double-sided tape here today for this. So I think it might be easier to stick my tape onto my envelopes right at the bottom. Now this one I'm going to have folding out this way. So this is the other thing to bear in mind when you're sticking them down. So this one is going to stick onto here. So I've got my front cover, comes up to a mountain, and I'm going to then stick it onto this side here. So I'm going to pop it inside, and then I'm just going to burnish that down with my bone folder, and then that holds that in place as a hinge system. So I'm not sticking anything on the back here, so I'm going to fold the next one over, and the next one's going to stick onto here. Now the next one I'm going to have going back to back, so I now need to put the tape onto this side. You don't have to have them placed in different ways if you don't want. If you wanted to have them all the same way, that is entirely up to you. That's not a problem at all. I'm just trying to give a little bit of interest to the album. That's why I thought I'd do it this way today. I must say I quite enjoyed working with this monochromed pack of cards because it works for both male and female, and it's quite nice, quite versatile, and also it's quite good for sort of teenagers and things as well. So I've been really pleased with how that's come on. So now the next one I'm going to have facing that way. So that's going to come up and it's going to go on there. So put my tape on this side this time. So bring that across. I'm not using red double-sided tape here, I'm just using the normal double-sided tape because it's only paper, so it shouldn't be a problem at all. I'm just going to rest that in there. Give that a little burnish. That's going to go that way. And the next one I'm going to have sticking that way, so that's going to be on this side. I'm probably making it more complicated for myself doing it like this, but hey ho, it all come out in the end. The other thing I will be using for this to bind the spine, because obviously if you look at this binding system, it is very quick and easy to do, which is great, and I love things like that that are quick and easy to do. But also, obviously, it's concertinaed, and you're thinking, well, how's she going to keep that still? So we are, because we're going to use the binding system using just 2 strips of ribbon, and I'll show you how we'll do that. So you could not put any ribbon if you didn't want on the outside, you could leave it plain. But I just thought if you've got some ribbon on the binding, it just holds it a bit firmer and makes it a bit more like a book. Make sure I've got that where I want it. Put something down there. This is the last one now. So I'm liking the way this is all coming together. Great of these sides of your envelopes. You might think, oh, it's a bit plain and white, but they're ideal for sticking your photographs. And the size of the cards and envelopes that I'm using here today, you've only got to cut a 6x4 photograph down a little bit to actually use that on there as a photo mat, so it's perfect. So, and I'm all for using your 6x4 pictures because we have them all on the computers and we never do anything with them, so that's a great way of doing that. So that's all our pages now in our book. So we now need to attach the cover to go on this side. Now, I could do this in several ways. As you can see, the spine's all concertinaed and open, so you could leave it like that if you wish, but I think I'm going to put some ribbon on. Now, I can add my spine in several ways. I'm just having a look here. I can either do same cover again. I've done one concertina, but I could stick on this last piece here so it fits quite nice and flush, which is probably the route I'm going to take. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this little piece off here. I'm going to leave the 1/2 inch that we've got. I'm going to put some tape on there. Use your tape runner for this if you didn't want to use double-sided tape, not a problem at all, because then what I'm going to do is that's going to stick in there, so I'm also going to need to put some tape on here. By attaching my spine or my back cover like this, because obviously my paper's only 12 by 12, and by attaching it like this it's going to fit seamlessly on the back and you won't actually see it if you didn't want to put a cover on. So I've got the back piece for measurements. I need to now stick some double-sided tape on these 2 pieces as well. It does look a bit fiddly, but it will come together. I've got the idea in my head, so hopefully it will work. This is how I do tend to work. I will have an idea and play with it till it runs. So take those off. Easy finger lift tape, and it's not under these lights, unfortunately. Right, so it's got tape on those 2. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick these on first. I'm going to put that to a point, and that's got to go inside here. Okay, so I'm going to try and see if I can open this out a little bit to show you a bit more. That's probably better. Just make sure that's right on. Move along a little bit, it's not quite where I want it to be. Trying to get it dead level, so my back and front cover are the same. That's where sometimes these bits can be a bit fiddly, but persevere, because these are the bits that finish your album off and make it look very professional. Yeah, I'm happy with that now. Right, so then I'm going to push that down on there. I'm just going to get my bone folder and burnish those along. Because it's all the same colour, once we fold all this together, I know you've got that extra thickness there that it won't show. So I'm now going to take my tape off this inside piece that we had. So this inside piece is the piece that's the spine. We turn it around that way. This was the spine, and this was the tiny little bit that we had at the bottom, which is going to join now to the back cover, which it doesn't want to come off its backing. There we go, just tuck those end pieces in, and just lay that flat down. So you've got a little seam there, but that's all that you can actually see, because you just fold all these bits back in again. When you look on the back, you don't actually see the seam there where we've added that extra back cover. Okay, so that's our main book done. So we now need to attach the front and back covers. Now, as I say, you could just attach your front and back covers and leave the back like that if you wish. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to attach a little piece of black ribbon I've got here. So I'm going to sort of attach a piece there, attach a piece there, and tie a knot, just to hold the spine together really. You can then loosen it off as you've got pieces in it, because it does open nicely as a book. So let's pop our tags in while we're at this stage. So as I say, you've got your tags that go inside each one, but these big spaces here are ideal for putting your photographs as well. So I think we're going to have, I've put my tags in two places. I've put one lot at the top and one lot at the bottom, so I think we'll stagger them. Slide those down there. So which way do we have that one? I mean, as I say, these mats that I'm putting in, I'm just putting singular mats in, but if you wanted to put like card mats in, where you've got like two pieces folded over so you can put even more photographs in, that's brilliant as well. But these are great little projects to do, as I say, if you're fundraising or to give away as gifts. They're ideal to give away as little party favours if you've had a birthday party and you wanted to send the children home with some photographs of the event. It's quite nice. So what I'm going to do is going to cut some strips of my ribbon now. I'm sort of eyeballing how much I need, probably not even that much, I'm going a bit mad really. Cut that again. And I think for attaching this, I'm going to use my thick tape. I'm just going to open this out now, if it will. Yes, it will. Now let's have a little sort of eyeball measurement here. So that's going to be, let's start from the top, it's easy. That's 5.5. So if we went in 1.5 and 1.5, I think it'd be quite nice. Bring that in there. And there. And then we're going to do the same on the other cover. And then what we're going to do is just burnish these off, because this basil that I'm using is slightly textured. The lights are making it a bit sticky that it doesn't want to come off. With my craft knife it'd be easier. So I'm going to put a flat piece, make sure I've got the shiny side the way I want it. I'm only going to tie these in knots. I'm not going to do fancy bows for this because the monochrome is quite a nice plainish look, I would say. I'm not going to do fancy bows, and also that way it keeps it quite neutral depending on who you want to give it to. So I'm going to do that today. So make sure I've got the right side of my ribbon showing. And we can go ahead and attach our cards. Now there again with the cards, I'm not going to attach I'm going to cut the front cover of the card off just to attach to these. So I'll just cut these off. So these are other bits of lace that I can use elsewhere with other projects. That's not a problem. Get out the way. And I think also to finish these off, to follow the theme through with the ones that I've done inside, I'll give these a little hole punch on the corner to make them look quite decorative. Now you can stick these down with a glue of your choice. I think I'm going to use a bit of tape and a bit of wet glue here today for quickness. So some tape here on the edges. I don't really want to go over these holes because otherwise the tape will show through, which would be a bit of a shame. We use a bit of both here today. Take these off. I can't remember at the moment where was my back and which was my front. I can see it. I'm going to put a bit of wet glue and here as well. Don't be afraid of mixing your adhesive mediums when you're doing projects like this. Now, there's no right or wrong in crafting as far as I'm concerned. It's your interpretation. You're the one making the album, so it's your interpretation. So this is the front. So I'm going to sort of do this in the middle. And that's it. I'm quite happy with that. Let's give that a burnish down. Now, one thing with these cards is I do like the patterns to go the same way, so this one now has to go over this side. So, take the backing off these two. And I'm going to mix the adhesive mediums again. Using both. Double check the way my patterns were going, yeah. Just like to make sure I've got them right. Burnish that down on there. The beauty of black and white is you can't go wrong colour wise. You've not got to worry about matching the colours or anything. What I'm going to do with the spine here then is I'm just going to tie these in a knot. Just to finish that off. By having them tied also in a knot, you can have the freedom of how much you're adding to your book. So if your book or your little book gets a bit bulky with all what you've got inside it, you can then loosen your ribbons off. So I'm just putting a little double bow on, double knot on here. I'm keeping it quite loose. So that's the mini album made out of 6 envelopes and 2 cards. Lots of spaces for photo mats, as you can see. Lots of spaces to put all your little extra tickets, memorabilia and stuff in there. So nice little quick mini album. Nice to give away as a gift, nice to do for a fundraise. So that's another project out of our box of cards and envelopes. So I'm Dawn from Dawn's Inspirations, and thank you for watching. Bye bye for now.